What is up, game changers? Welcome to the end game. My name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an ascension master, master healer, and divine guide. I am the one who brought about the ascension. I know that's really hard to fathom and understand, but the really cool thing about that is I actually have proof of everything that I say. Okay, so I do them in workshops. That's how a lot of it happened to me and through me over the years. Started in 2019 and it continued forward from clearing Mount Shasta, which was very, very relevant. The veil that was amongst us all is because of what they did to us, okay? So I undid all that, resurrected Jesus and Mary Magdalene, even though there's been mishaps on the twin flame journey. Not to my doing, hopefully, right? Like, I've done everything I can. Activated pyramids, repaired the crystalline grid underneath the earth, and so much more, including drying up the Nile and turning it blood dry. Blood red first, I think it was, and then it dried up. So this is what's been happening to me and through me. It has all been very biblical. It has happened on specific dates and times that Spirit called for, and they are all very relevant. Okay, so this is what they're calling the end game, right? Is it a game though? No, it's really not a game because it's life. So that is who I am and that is what I've done. I encourage you guys to check it out because big changes are on their way, right? Big changes are on their way and I hold the keys, meaning being the one that activated all the portals, I know how to get you through them, okay? So I'm going to keep going even though people are having a hard time right now. I'm going to keep going even though people don't want to see truths, right? That's kind of what's in the energy today. So I'm going to channel Spirit. I want to just pull some cards, do a message like that today. It is Wednesday, the 16th of August of 2023. It is Wednesday, yes. I'm like, wait, what day is it? It is Wednesday, the 16th of August, 2023. But whenever you find this message will be relevant for you, okay? But we are into the final phases of the ascension, my friends, okay? Now, let's put it this way. If everything happened all at one time, we would have a mental issue with a collective soul, right? And so everything will unfold piece by piece. And it already is. You guys can already look across the board and see that. Hollywood issues are being ousted and shown. What they've kind of been doing to our world has been ousted and shown. And a couple years ago when I activated one of the pyramids, which you guys can watch those on this channel, I encourage you to do so, but they're layered and most people don't want to see the truths, unfortunately, yet, but they will. They will, you know. But I had spoke about activating the pyramids being a beacon and that we would see more alien activity, but they've always been here. And sure enough, that is what's happening. A lot of things that I speak of and do are actually playing out in the environment in front of all of you. It is very complex when you think about who we truly were, who we are, what happened to us, and where we're going. Because God was not here, okay? I did bring about the ascension, which truly is the return of Christ, okay? It's very amazing, actually. I was never religious, ever, but I always had God in my heart, and it makes a lot of sense now, okay? So where is your heart? Can you accept the challenges, right? So recently, myself and another one of my graduates went through the gates. We were the first two to go through the gates. And what happens, and I also took the animals through the gates, you guys, and when I did that, we go through the gates. This is what happens, okay? And if there's karma to clear on those gates, you get a kickback. You have to clear it, you have to heal it, and you have to choose the light every time. Choose over the shadow. It's not as simple as everybody thinks, but it's also not as complicated as it feels, right? But when we took the animals through, and I have witnesses to all of this, they've experienced it with me, they witnessed it, they felt it, and they would help me. But when we took the animals through the gates, some were genetically modified, and I couldn't accept them through, okay? Some of them I was able to repair their DNA. This is relevant for all of you because this is the same thing for all of you. Right? This is why we would push against the V, like don't take that, where usually it's all about free will for God. But, you know, with that's tricky because if the DNA was changed and messed with so much, they can't be accepted through the gates. Okay, that's number one. That's why they talk about the med beds. Can I heal it? Yes. Certain individuals can, not everybody can, but yes, it can be healed. Okay, so but when you go through the gates, it's like you get kicked back if you're not viable. if you have karma to clear, because God is amazing. The work that I've done is amazing. It does force you to clear your karma. It forces you to grow as an individual. And why doesn't anybody want to do that, right? Like, why do we not want to grow? Why do we not want to see changes? Changes are difficult. People like their comfort zones. People like their little world where everything is okay, everything is the same, everything is comfortable. Even if they didn't realize they were in HE double hockey sticks, right? Spirit doesn't call it that. But we definitely weren't in the house of God, okay? The earth was not. It had been completely removed. Mt Shasta was very relevant for that. That's why the veil was created, so that we couldn't see through the eyes of God. It was that we saw through the eyes of the shadow. And so there was a lot that really happened. There's a lot to really understand and to really come out of and to really process, and allow yourself to grow and to change. Changes are hard. And these are big changes. These are evolutionary changes because it's the end game. So either you accept the ending or you don't, right? And I have to do the same thing. Just because I'm the one who brought it about doesn't mean it doesn't affect me as well. So I have talked about the fact that all of our lives combine into one, right? Into this lifetime, because you're measured against every lifetime, not just one. And then you have to clear that through the gates. It's like it kicks back at you if you have any karma or any parts of the shadow that you chose over God, right? The shadow is truly what Spirit would call El Diablo, but it was the fallen angel, okay? And all of the work that they created, all right? The apocalypse of John is the one who actually killed Jesus. You guys, this is all relevant because it's what happened to you. It's what happened to God, to me, and to all of you, okay? So why don't we like changes? That's first and foremost. What about change is so rough? Because I've had to go through so many changes. It can be jarring, right? But do you want to thrive in these changes, or do you want to be a survivor? Do you want to grow, or do you want to not go at all? You know, that's really our choices. So I encourage you guys to watch the things on this channel because it's relevant, and I know that we are towards the end, and you can see that playing out in your collective soul. Like, so many people can tell these are prophesized. These are biblical, and the work that I did is biblical. If you look at the dates and things, it's pretty awesome. So why is it that people don't want to see God? Why is it? Why is it people don't want to see God and don't want to follow God in their heart? They think they know better than God. They think they know everything. And we know nothing, really. What I've learned is that I knew nothing. And I'm still learning to this day. I'm a master healer, ascension master. I'm the one who brought about the ascension. I am part of what they say, the gods of time, which is really strange, right? I'm not normal. And even I have to accept the changes. Even I have to go through these challenging things, right? They're truly challenging. And so I just want to give everybody power to do the same. It is about being your best self. It is about rising to the pieces of you that maybe we would avoid before. We don't always want to see the truth. We don't always want to see why we do the things that we do. Why do I do the things that I do? Why do I accept less for myself? Why am I afraid of God? You know, people will look at the work that I do. There's this guy claiming he's Jesus, I don't know, somewhere on this world, and he makes national news. And does he have any proof? No, not at all. I'll sit here and go, look, you guys, I brought about the return of Christ. I resurrected Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I undid the false Holy Grail. Here's the proof. And barely anybody wants to see the proof. And it's like, why do we do that? Why are we so afraid of the truth? And you know what my 15-year-old son actually told me is like, Mom, people just aren't ready for it yet. They can't fathom it yet. Maybe their minds aren't ready for it. And he and I, like, it took us a few years to understand what I was doing. And he went through his own things with it, you know, because it's not normal who I am and what I do. And it's been proven to us. We've watched it in and out and left and right. I don't have a mental issue, right? But it's been a lot for us to process too. And my 15-year-old son made so much sense. It's so true. It's like we don't want to accept these things yet. We have a hard time accepting truths. We have a hard time accepting changes, but the truth shall always set you free. Okay? The truth shall set you free. And my first DM had a hard time with that as well. And I remember them telling him that because he lied to me and he didn't want to tell me the truth. Petty, right? Like, why? We should just, no holds bar, be honest. Be honest with ourselves. Be honest with the collective. Be honest with where we need to grow. You know, I still have growing I have to do. We went through the gates. I made it through every gate. My lifetimes, as I've talked about many times over, were Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus. They're all the same soul. It's all God, the God and the goddess of the sun and the moon. Okay, and those are the ones that I had to resurrect and clear and change and remove the shadow from, and then open up the gates for all of you. That's what I've done, and it was very, very, very painful. And I think that's what gets me. It's like people will look at these and they will judge. They'll go, "Oh, she's fat. Maybe she has diabetes." I've had people ask me that, and it's not bad, right? But people don't understand. They don't understand what I've been through. If you look at my videos from the beginning on this channel, I looked quite different, and it's only been a couple years, 3 years time. And so you can see what this journey has done to me, has put me through. And I feel like I get no respect from that. And that's where I'm like, why should I keep going? You know, why? If people don't want to see the truths, they'll believe a false prophet like that. Teal Swan, dude, like, oh my God, that the only reason that person bothers me is because so many people believe in what she is saying, yet she's not really a prophet, okay? The only thing she does is read a book and bring it out for all of you, and I could do that too. But I'm too real, you know what I mean? Everything I talk about, everything I do comes from my heart, comes from spirit, or comes from the work that I've done. Yet I've got all these degrees and things. It's just we are so conditioned as a society to look for certain things, to pay attention to certain things. We are so conditioned as a society to pick up our phone every, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It just depends on you. We are so conditioned in this society to be outside of our bodies because that is where they would gain power over you, because you're so powerful as individuals, okay? We are so powerful as individuals. Yet we give our power away all the time. We don't want to stand in our own power. We don't want the changes. We want to live this weird, controlled, painful existence only because it's what we're used to. We don't know what this means, the ascension. We don't know what it means for the end of days. A lot of people will think, oh, we're all going to be wiped out. Look what just happened in Hawaii. Have you ever seen the show Manifest? Like, that one actually sparked, it made a lot of sense to me because I know what I brought about and I know what it means. Okay, I know what it means to be going through the gates and get kicked back for karma or not be viable in DNA and have to work your way through those gates into the heaven gates, right? That's what it's about. It's heaven on earth now. That's why they call it the golden era. And I know because when I went through the gates and I took one other person with me so far, all of our karmic contract is wiped clean. We have cleared entirety of our karmic contract, and the individuals who were supposed to work closely with me over these last 3 years were part of the apostles that the Bible would speak about, and they had big things to clear and big purposes to bring about. And unfortunately, even some of them went into judgment, and we lost them a long time ago. Okay? But when you go through the gate, it's because we have karma to clear, right? There's been many lifetimes where the fallen angel would get high-functioning beings and gods to do things that were against God, okay? And people daily. The human collective, they've manipulated so much, and they get you guys to go against God so much. And it's not about good and bad. God does not judge. We are so wrong about that. God loves everybody, okay? But there are things where it's either love or it's outside of love, okay? Jealousy, judgment, prestige, power, right? Like, I only want the person who looks the best. I only want the person with the most money. I will, like, all of these things within Hollywood, all of those things, like, they're not of God, okay? The sacrifices, when I did Mount Shasta, that came up. There was, like, so many sacrifices that they would be forced to do in order to keep the vibration away from God, right? God doesn't say, hey, sacrifice somebody for me. I want to see you slaughter. I want to see bloodshed. It's not God. Okay, so in truth, God was removed from here a long time ago. And to see your karmic contract be completely cleared, and then you go through the gates and you get a pen and a blank paper, like God gives you. That's what it's like. I give you a key because I do the heart reviews. Whether people want to believe that or not, work with me even for 1 minute. But most people are scared. Most people, the ones that actually do work with me, either healing sessions, I've been doing this for almost 4 years now, who do the workshops, they're well aware. Okay, they feel it, they see it, they experience it, and they go through it. But most people will look for 5 minutes, if that, because the attention span too, right? And they go into judgment. Because this is where we're conditioned to be. It's truly stepping outside of that. Can you let all of that go? Can you grow into a better version of yourself? Can you understand that it's about love and acceptance and understanding and no judgment, right? It's understanding this. It's understanding we're all connected, that we all affect each other, okay? It's a total different world. And then going through the gates and getting the blank paper and a pen, it's like, what do I do now? Like, I'm so used to being on this journey where I have to clear my karma, open these gates, clear the shadow for humankind, and it's almost killed me. And my DM died. I battled fallen angels for a long time now, but I won, okay? But it's weird. It really is weird because I'm on the other side going, what now? How do I have joy in this when people don't believe what I've done? You know, how do you have joy when people, and my 15-year-old son is like, Mom, it's a lot to understand. They're just not quite ready yet. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. We're just not ready. And hopefully it doesn't take more instances like what happened in Hawaii to make people ready. Because no matter what, we are in the end days. We cannot change that outcome. Okay? I remember doing this a long time ago. They were like, nope, we've gone too far. There's no going back now. Right? I'm like, oh, okay. But what the cool part was is they actually showed me when the first part of my journey is that the last time we tried this, I didn't survive. This has been attempted to be done before, and they haven't survived. So it was actually very difficult. And to have people just walk right on by, stop watching my videos, not watch the workshops, it's painful. It's painful because I went through a lot of pain to do it for everybody. Like, a lot. And my body took a hit. How do I look in the mirror, you know? The DM, no matter what, God can't get him to step forward. It's a lot to fathom. It's a lot to understand, you know, but you consider we are so conditioned to look for certain things. We are so conditioned to believe falsehoods because that is what they did. That's what Mount Shasta was. And so, you know, it's like, be easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself as we go through the truths. Because the truth shall set you free. Can you be truthful with yourself and can you be truthful with others? I have so many people like thinking that it's just over judgment that people can't come through the gates. That's not it at all. You know, people think they can bypass God, and you cannot bypass God. It's just like what Jesus was trying to tell John the Apostle is do not worship the angels. The angels are fallible. God made the angels. Worship God only. And yet I get so much hate and so much chastisation, but if I, you know, it's like people are a little distorted on what is real, but of course we are. It's been removed from this earth for so long. The truths were just taken and forsaken, and people just mock God continually. And it's sad. It's sad, but you know, people have a really hard time accepting this right now. They have a really hard time being able to see the truth. It's jarring. And unfortunately, when I did Mount Shasta Part 2 and they called my DM forward, I had said it requires both eyes. Eye of Ra, the eye of Horus, that's who I am, that's who he is. God and the goddess of the moon come together. That's the balance of the masculine and feminine. And so in truth, you know, Maybe we lost more than we were supposed to on this journey. And so the question is how much suffering do people want to go through? How much more suffering do they need? Why don't we just rise above into love, into maybe noticing there's more than meets the eye and taking the time? How many people take the time to see things, take the time to go deeper and look into things and look for truths? How many people believe beyond the surface illusion? How many people go into their bodies? Can you feel into your body? Can you handle your emotions? That's difficult, isn't it? The more you heal, the more you master your emotions. The more you become responsive rather than reactive. And I feel like that's important at this time in the earth plane, because as more things like Hawaii happen, we need to be able to know what to do, to thrive rather than survive, right? We need to be able to understand what is God and what is not. It's such a distorted version. But I will tell you, when you go into judgment, it actually hurts. I can feel it even if I don't know you. I can feel it in the collective soul that people are trying to use, like because I do my academy, okay? I didn't just bring about the ascension. I have to bring about the new modalities and wake us up into these new abilities. And some of them are similar, but the thing is it's a higher frequency world. We're in a different dimension now. I took us into 7D instead of 5D, so it's a different dimensional plane. And as I'm teaching these things, it's like, forget everything you knew. Okay, people think they know. They think they can. Everybody thinks that we just know, and it's getting to a place of maybe I know nothing. Maybe I need to start over. And it's a great reset for a reason. Because you need to take everything that you thought you knew and dump it down the drain. Some things are similar, but we have to relearn, okay? And I keep telling people, I don't know how many people told me, I was doing healings just fine. You were in third dimensional reality, but you can't do them anymore unless you've had the upgrades, the activations, 2222. You can't heal here anymore, okay? Because essentially, you're hurting yourself and you're hurting people. You're not healing them in God's light, okay? You're not able to read the messages of the One unless you upgrade. We did that for a reason. That way they can't read what's going on in the energies. They have no idea, okay, anymore. They used to be able to, because they held the triangle with the eye. They had a false holy grail, which was a contract written in Jesus's blood, and it would keep you. It's literally like keeping you caged and poking and prodding and getting you to do what they want you to do. And in Hollywood, they have all these sex scandals, and I was going to channel one on Heath Ledger, but I stopped doing that because I went through the gates, and those will not exist anymore. So they're a different vibration, so I stopped doing missing persons. And that's why that happened to me that way. Spirit it's like time to end that chapter. But I was going to do one on Heath Ledger because the Olsen twins were involved. I think it was Ashley or one of the Olsen twins. And in that, he actually said they're all in a sex trafficking thing. So I would say about a good 80% of Hollywood is a sex trafficking society in itself, okay? And you can see that now. You can see what's happening now. It was an accidental death, but at the same time, it was like playing Russian roulette. And that's what they had said about Heath Ledger. But it was about like the sex scandal, okay? And the Olsen twins are in on it. A whole bunch of people are, and he was going that way too, he said. So it ended. He was starting to get into it, okay? He was trying not to, but he was starting to get into it. And so when you really realize how dirty the earth was, how much they went against God, maybe people would come to a certain circumstance in their heart of, you know what, let's just find love again. Let's just let all this go. Let's realize the earth is doing things maybe I don't understand. There was so many lies, so many untruths. Okay? And when something is real right in front of our face, we can't see it. So the truth shall set you free, my friends. The truth shall set you free. So let's see what Spirit says and the cards say, okay? It's about learning to rise another day. Learning to rise another day. Learning to come into a space of your own. Okay, like I said, we're so outside of our bodies, that's a detriment. Because we have home. Home is where the heart is. Okay, that's where God resides. That's the only place you can connect to Spirit. It's not just through your third eye. It's not through your crown chakra, your throat. If your heart is not open, we cannot connect to Spirit. Okay, that is when you're in judgment and ego and all these other kinds of things. And how do you open your heart? You have to heal. Okay, unfurling back to love, heart chakra. Okay, it's about unfurling back to love, not judgment. And when people can't even spend more than 10 minutes doing research on what God is, it's a detriment. Okay, so home is where the heart is. It's being able to open up, being in the here and the now only, and realizing there's way more going on than what you're allowing into your space and into your reality. Okay, heart chakra, expansion of the heart, expansion of the one, and unfurling back to love. That's what it's about. It's about rearranging our compass, which was pointed on the outer world, to the inner one, being able to go in our body, being able to feel our emotions, to heal ourselves, to redo coping mechanisms, and to know how to raise that vibration and heal. It's truly all it's about, okay? Because we are unique individuals. We have unique gifts. We're not meant to be what they were making us be. How many of you would spend every day going, there's got to be something more? You never felt satisfied. Always looking for something more, right? Never felt happy, never felt satisfied. Feel like the relationships we're in just seem to be more of a struggle sometimes than joy. It's like, where does the struggle end? That's because we were never aligned in our heart. Okay? It's about getting a full spectrum. Oh, I can see now. Now I can understand. You know, I had this guy comment on my video the other day about Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and they are the leaders of the 144,000 of the twin flames, and they were supposed to come together to unite all twin flames. I actually would talk about that a lot on my videos 2 years ago, a year ago. When Spirit was trying to call my DM forward, we combined. So he chose to combine to me, and he was still very low vibrational and attached to fallen angels, and then he took off and almost killed me. And in the end, he wasn't strong enough to leave. Okay, he kept trying, and we were getting attacked, and he ended up dying. All right, and I got a new one who was supposed to come because that union is relevant. It is very important, and without it, there has been damage done. I cannot sugarcoat that enough. Okay, but even regardless, it's time to focus on ourselves. We cannot focus on our counterpart. We cannot focus on any of that. You truly must focus on yourself, learn to do why you do the things that you do, opening up the heart space, getting a new perspective, okay? Because if you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things changes. The things that you look at change, right? If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Okay? So be fearless and bold. Be fearless and bold. Why do I do what I do? It's time for me to step up. So the other day I put on false eyelashes, and I've been trying to do it, right? And the moment I start to step up, something pushes me down. It's like, oh, not worth enough. I'm not worthy. And it's hard because most people won't even watch my videos, right? But it's allowing yourself to step into the best version of who you are. Tend to the small things, the details, right? Tend to the small things. And then watch and wait. Watch and wait. Like, we are so stuck in expectations. We expect things to be now. And even me, I'm like, all right, God, I've gone through all this pain, all this work, and people aren't respecting it. Why do I go on every day? And my 15-year-old reminds me, he blew my mind with his insight and his ability to understand. And he's like, you know, Mom, it's a lot to process. Maybe people aren't quite ready yet. Don't give up. I'm like, you know, it's true. We have a hard time seeing truth. Look at our relationships, right? We're in karmic relationships. We have a hard time being able to see the truth, to be able to let it go, to be able to look deeper. And it's So take the little things and expand them out and expand them out. Okay, why do I do this right here? Why am I doing this thing? Why do I get in fear? Why do I get in self-sabotage? I have to do the same thing. I'll tell you why I self-sabotage. Because I have very low self-esteem now, and I didn't used to. That's new for me. But being that I took the hit that I took and I get all the judgment that I get, it's really hard. But we can see how detached from God we were. And we still are. Okay? So think about that. Are the people around you there because you love them or because you thought they were good enough? It's like that saying, there's potential in you. It's like, psh, what about who I am now? Is that not good enough? Let's change our perspective, okay? When we expand the way we look at things, the things we look at changes, okay? This is my deck. This is the one I created. Okay, this is my Ascension deck. I'm like, wait, where's my cover card is mixed in. So this is my Ascension deck. I created it while I was activating the final portals. Actually been putting it together for a while. Spirit channels these through me. They're like, do this. I was like, okay. And it completed right as I cleared up the Nile. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I finally understood because I got the download of the gates and who I am and what I've done and what it takes to get through the gates. And the fact that I do the heart reviews and give the keys. And so that's when this deck was finalized. So this is the Ascension Portal Healing Messages. Messages of the gods. Okay. These were channeled through all of the portals, basically. And I didn't realize I was doing that. That's the coolest part about the work that I did. Is it came through, you know, while I was in the veil too. Like, I didn't know it was part of my awakening. And through every stage, it's like it was so beautifully designed and set up to where proof is there. The proof is there. People just need to take the time to watch. And it takes time. And like my son said, is maybe it's a lot for people to understand. Maybe some people are afraid. Maybe they're not ready. But I'm like, you know, I wish the DM would have stepped up a long time ago because we needed a lot more people to wake up by now. And the more people that choose to, the more people will follow. But unfortunately, we're just not there yet. But that's the thing. That's not my job to worry about that, right? That's not my job to worry about that, right? Tend to the small things. So what can I do? I can tend to me. I can tend to making sure I'm upping my game and feeling beautiful again, even though my body has changed and took a hit. Focusing on myself, focusing on my joys. How do I find joy in this when it was taken away from me, right? When nobody even sees the work that I do, how do I find the joy? These are real questions because I'm sure we all go through a form of this, right? Like I've put my heart and soul into something. It almost killed me, took everything I had, killed my DM, and people still refuse to see it. How do you go on? How do you find joy when others don't see the value in you? It's tending to the small things of you. What can I deal with me? Maybe people don't see me yet. Maybe they're not validating what I've done, who I am, how painful this journey was. But it's not even that. It's like the truth. If you really knew the truth of what Jesus on a cross meant, it would make you cry too, because it's made me cry. So that's what it's about for me. It's like the truth will set you free. So we need to take time to be in stillness. Tend to the small things. Take the time to watch things. She says she has proof. Let's watch it because maybe it'll help me, right? Be fearless and bold. Why do we worry about what others think? Let's be fearless and bold. I'm doing it. I'm doing those workout videos. You think people are even acknowledging it? I'm like, I should quit. And I don't know why Spirit keeps pushing this through for me to do. And then when you think about who I am, it's like that's the harsh reality of the world we've been living in. And progress is not always noticeable, okay? Until after you sit in stillness. Honor your progress today. So that's what I'm talking about, is things are not always noticeable until we sit in stillness. Maybe I don't see how far I've come until I take the time to sit and still and do an evaluation. Right? And that's what everybody should be doing, is taking more time and sitting in stillness, going within their body, being in the here and the now, and looking for what Spirit is showing you to look at. Okay, there is depth and wonderment. Dig deeper. There is more. This is what I'm talking about. There's always more. My videos are very complex. God's work is very complex. He can give you a sentence and it could take you a year to decipher. Okay? And that's where my son is kind of pointing. Maybe people aren't ready. Maybe they just don't understand it yet, right? And that's what Spirit says too. It's like they're in their head about it instead of in their heart. Because it's beyond. God is beyond the reality and the mentality in which we house. The higher dimensionals are beyond our mind space capabilities. Okay? That's why it's home is where the heart is. Okay? And I've had to do the same thing, you guys. When I come out of my body during my journey and I would think about what I was doing, I was giving myself a psych eval. I'm like, okay, I have to be crazy because who activates pyramids? Like, what does this mean? Then they told me my heart was enlarged. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is nuts. This can't be real. And then something would happen and it would prove it again and again and again. And I would keep going. I'm like, this is real. This is real. And then all the psych evals, including my psychologist friends, were like, nope, you're okay. I'm like, what the hell is happening? So that's my point, right? When we're in our head, it doesn't always make sense. But when we're in our heart, we can feel things are right and when they're not. Okay? Rays of yellows, gold, the sun and the one. Healing element of light shining to help everything and everyone else shine so bright. Take your power back, awaken and shine. Okay? I'm going to read that again. Rays of yellow, gold, the sun and the one. When you think about who I am, I've moved the sun. I am the goddess of the sun and the moon. Okay? That's God. Rays of yellows, gold, and sun and the one. Healing element of light, shining to help everything and everyone else shine so bright. Take your power back, awaken, and shine. So what this truly talks about is that you shining doesn't just help you. It helps everybody. Okay? The healing element of light, shining to help everything and everyone. The return of Christ's light. It's here to help us heal. It's here to bring us back to our heart, to God. Take your power back, awaken, and shine. Okay, speaks loudly to take our power back. Size is an illusion. Now on these cards, all the images are the portals of activation. Okay, so there is a lot of pyramids. There's Machu Picchu. There is Garden of Eden in here. Arizona I put in there because I go to Sedona a lot to heal people's shadow when they have big shadows to heal and dump. I dump them there a lot after healing them. But there's also, I went to like Sedona, Arizona when I was first awakening to meditate there. Not physically. I can travel, right? Energetically. And so I was doing that there. So that's in there. The Garden of Eden, Lake Titicaca. All of these are very important portals. Okay, Fiji. And so that's the images on these cards. Size is an illusion. It's all in how it is perceived. If I think this is going to be difficult, then it's going to be difficult. If I think it's going to be this way, then it's going to be this way. And that's what got me through my journey, is just a different perspective. Okay, this wants me to think this is so hard. This wants me to think I'm not strong enough. This wants me to think there's no love here. And I knew better than that. Okay. Take your power back, my friends. Take your power back, because there is miraculous things happening right in front of you. And 90% don't even want to see it. And that's about power. Take your power back. Okay? If you need help with those things, I do have courses and workshops, but you don't have to do my work. Okay? But hopefully people will hear what I say, because I do hold the keys. You know, we listen to false prophets, we listen to fallen angels before we've listened to God. And maybe it's time now that we let God back in our hearts so we can truly hear what he's been trying to say. He doesn't judge. That's people. That's the shadow. So be mindful. Give love. Share love. Be love. Open your heart. Expand into the newness and the reality that everything's changing. Nothing can remain the same. And that is hard to accept. And that's okay. Let it be okay. So much love to all of you. I will be doing a live tomorrow for Twin Flame messages to help people understand what's going on with the Twin Flames. I have done my part. I am so sorry I couldn't be enough for the DM to step up. See? So much love, you guys. Have a beautiful day.